Hello there, everyone. My name's Andrew.
And I'm Kassy.
And this is the Culips English Podcast. Welcome back to Culips, friends. This is Simplified Speech, our series which features clear, natural, and easy to understand English conversations about interesting topics. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Kassy. Hello, Kassy.
Hey, Andrew, and hey, everyone. Hope you're all doing well.
So, Kassy, what's the plan for today? What are we going to talk about?
Well, Andrew, today we have a pretty amusing topic because today we are talking about amusement parks. But I don't want to take all the credit for this topic because it was actually suggested to us by one of our listeners named Chaeyoung, who messaged us through Instagram. So, Chaeyoung, thanks for the great topic.
Yes, a very amusing topic. I agree, Kassy. So thanks, Chaeyoung, for the suggestion. And listeners, before we get started, I want to let you all know that there's a study guide and transcript that we've made that accompanies this episode. So it's designed to help you build your English skills and reach your English learning goals faster. So if you're interested in it, you just need to sign up and become a Culips member. And when you become a member, you'll get unlimited access to all of our study guides, plus some great bonuses as well, such as invitations to our monthly live streams. So for all the details and to sign up, just visit our website, culips.com.
We also want to give a shout out to one of our listeners from Italy named Federico, who left us a great review and a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Andrew, why don't you read the review for us?
Sure. So Federico wrote, "Hello, everyone. I just renewed my subscription and I'm very glad I did. I have been listening to Andrew and his co-hosts for a year and have learned many useful expressions. For example, I was participating in a teleconference the other day, and at the end I said, 'I think we can wrap up here,' as Andrew always says." Great impression. Thank you for your help and for all the interesting episodes you stream. Well, Federico, thank you so much for that great review. And it's great to hear that we have been so helpful for you, in your career and in your English speaking in your day-to-day life. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great when the expressions you learn on this podcast, can be used in your everyday setting.
And I think he picked up on a good one there, Kassy, because I'm pretty sure that I do say that almost every episode, don't I?
Yep.
Okay, well, Federico, thank you again. And thank you to everyone who has been supporting us with reviews and comments and subscriptions and likes, all of those things. Guys, keep it up. It really does help us a lot. So with that being said, Kassy, it's time to get into our topic for today, which is all about amusement parks. So why don't we kick things off by just quickly defining what an amusement park is? Kassy, when you hear this word, amusement parks, what pops into your mind?
Popcorn, roller coasters, long lines of people, sticky cotton candy.
All of those things, right? And I think you're a good person to talk about this topic with, Kassy, because USA really seems to be the land of amusement parks, like the capital of amusement parks. And Disney World in Florida is the largest amusement park in the world, as far as I know.
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
Perfect. You've been there a few times. So, Kassy, just in general, before we get into talking about your specific amusement park visits, are you a fan of amusement parks? Do you like going to them?
I love amusement parks.
Really? Okay, this surprises me a little bit. I thought that maybe you wouldn't be an amusement park fan, but you love them. Great.
I'm a huge fan. I think that's because of my mom. It's funny. She's not really a big fan of people. And there's a lot of people at amusement parks, but she loves them. She took me to them all the time when I was growing up. And I just fell in love with them too. And because she doesn't love people, my mom has so many hacks for getting the best amusement park experience.
Okay, so when you mean hack, you mean like a shortcut or a tip that you can do to make your visit to the amusement park more enjoyable.
Exactly.
So, for example, what are some of these hacks? Can you share them with everyone? I think maybe we could use them next time we visit amusement parks too.
Sure. So if listeners remember, my hometown is kind of in the middle of nowhere. We've had an episode about it, but it's really close to Hershey, Pennsylvania, which has a very famous amusement park, Hershey Park. And my mom got season tickets for us, so we could go as many times as we wanted in the summer, and we only had to pay that one-time fee. So that's my first tip. If you live near an amusement park, you have kids, buy a season pass.
Growing up in my hometown, Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada, we didn't have any amusement parks, but I did live very close to a water park, and my parents would do the same thing. They would buy me a season's pass, and for everyone who's listening, a season's pass means like one pass that you can use for the entire season. So you buy a ticket one time and you can reuse that ticket and visit the amusement park or the water park as many times as you like. They're usually a little bit expensive, right? But usually because it costs so much money to go to a water park or an amusement park, if you visit 2 or 3 or 4 times in one summer, then you've paid off the whole amount. So if you plan on going often, a season's pass is a pretty good discount. And yeah, I didn't have an amusement park in my hometown, but I had a water park called Wet and Wild.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
And same thing, I would go to the water park. It feels like I went every day, but there's no way I could have gone every day. I probably went like once a week all summer.
Yep. So for those of you who don't live close to a water park, my second tip is if you're going to go, a good way to save money and to avoid those crazy lines. I sound a little bit like an advertisement right now, everybody. Anyway.
It's true.
is a lot of parks actually have deals for morning tickets or evening tickets, especially evening tickets. So for example, I think at Hershey Park, if you buy tickets after 5 p.m., you can get just an evening pass. So that means you're only entering the park at 5 p.m. and you can stay until closing, which in the summer is usually 11 or maybe even 12. So your hours of, quote unquote playtime are limited. However, a lot of the children, like the young kids, leave around 5 o'clock because it's dinner time. So the lines are so much more reduced. And also the heat is gone because, sun's going down and the park looks really cool at night. So if you want to enjoy a water park, the daytime is better. But if you want to enjoy a roller coaster park, like an amusement park, evening passes are a really cool thing to use.
Wow. To be honest, Kassy, I was a little bit worried about this topic because I incorrectly assumed that maybe you wouldn't be interested in going to amusement parks, that you weren't really a fan of them. And to be honest, I'm not really a fan of amusement parks. Just, the crowds, the waiting, the hot weather, the expensive fees, all of those things I don't really like. So amusement parks are kind of just a big collaboration of a bunch of things I don't like. But hearing you explain the evening pass, wow, I just thought, maybe I should give that a try because that sounds a lot more fun.
You really should.
Yeah, like I'd still get to ride the rides, but I wouldn't have to wait as long, wouldn't have as many young children running around, which I'm not a big fan of. Yeah, the night vibe could be a lot more fun. I'm gonna keep that in mind next time somebody suggests going to an amusement park.
Exactly. And then the last tip, which is the one my mom loves, this isn't for your everyday amusement park, but if you're going to the fancy ones like the Disney World franchises, they have Disney World in Florida and Disneyland in California, Paris, I think Shanghai, Japan.
Yeah, Osaka, I think there's one in Osaka.
Yeah, her big tip is to always go now your parents might not agree with this, off season. So you don't want to go in summer and you don't want to go in December near the Christmas holidays because those are the big fancy times where everybody's going. But you want to go in maybe like September or October when the weather is still really nice, but everybody is working or in school. So the lines, again, are severely reduced.
Right. So when everybody else is in the office or at school, then you can enjoy the park when it's relatively empty.
Exactly.
Kassy, can you tell us about Hershey Park? I've never heard of this amusement park before. It almost sounds like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory or something, Hershey Park. Is it like chocolate focused at all because of the chocolate company, Hershey Chocolate? Or is it just because of the location? What's up with it?
Yeah, so it actually has a really cool history. Milton Hershey built the town, Hershey, Pennsylvania, in order to, run his factories and have the cow farms in the surrounding area to make the chocolate. And one way that he wanted to give back to his workers was by creating this entertainment center. So he actually originally built Hershey Park only for his employees.
Oh, really? So it was like a benefit for the people that worked at the chocolate factory.
Yes, and that still goes on to this day. I think once or twice a year, there is a time where Hershey Park workers are the only ones allowed in the park, them and their family members. And even to this day, some perks of being a Hershey Park employee are getting free passes throughout the year.
Interesting. That's cool. And do they have like lots of rides and roller coasters? What are some of the things that you could do there?
Yeah, so Hershey Park is famous for their roller coasters. I think there's maybe 14 or 15 roller coasters. They come out with a new one every year or two, and they are amazing, Andrew.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. When you enter the park, they actually have stands where you can measure your height, and they have cute little names. Like when you're a baby, you're a Hershey Kiss, so you can only ride the baby rides. But as you grow up, you become a Jolly Rancher and then a Twizzler. And then when you're finally tall enough to ride the big kid rides, you're a Hershey Bar.
And for listeners that don't know, those are all the names of candies, different candy that the Hershey company makes.
Exactly. And when I was finally tall enough to be a Hershey Bar, I was so excited because there was this ride called the Great Bear, which is named after the Northern Star. And it has like these really cool corkscrew twists, and you go upside down at like 2 or 3 times. And you have to wear one of those shoulder strap harnesses, but your legs are dangling free underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Such a cool ride, Andrew.
Kassy, I'm not a really big roller coaster guy. Maybe listeners can tell that I'm not super enthusiastic about amusement parks. It's really just not something that I seek out often, but there is a little amusement park in West Edmonton Mall in Edmonton, Canada. And West Edmonton Mall, its claim to fame is that it's the largest mall in the world, apparently. And I visited there when I was a second-year university student, and I went with some of my roommates. We made a little road trip and went to Edmonton and checked out the mall. And yeah, there's so many things in this mall. Like there's dolphins in the mall, like a dolphin pool. You can see them swimming around while you're shopping. There's a water park in the mall, and there's roller coasters. And I remember going on one of the roller coasters at the amusement park that's built into West Edmonton Mall. But that was the last time I remember riding a roller coaster. So that was, several years ago, a long time ago. So I haven't ridden a roller coaster for a long time. It sounds like you're a pretty big fan of roller coasters, though, Kassy. Do you like that kind of thrill and adventure?
I do. I love roller coasters. I actually rode my first roller coaster by myself when I was so young. I think 7.
Wow.
I went to the amusement park often with my little sister and my grandma, and my sister couldn't ride alone, so I had to ride alone while she rode with my grandmother. So I started off young. I have noticed, though, that in the past few years, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but when I ride roller coasters, my stomach feels a little weird, like I've got butterflies in it. I don't know if it's because of the jerky movements, but I do not enjoy roller coasters as much as I did when I was younger.
Many things get a little more difficult as we age, Kassy. I can definitely sympathize with that point. So in Canada, we have the West Edmonton Mall, like I mentioned. We also have a really big amusement park. Canada's biggest amusement park is in Toronto, just a little bit outside of the city. It's called Canada's Wonderland. And growing up, I didn't live in Toronto. I lived on the west coast of Canada, so I never got to visit Canada's Wonderland, but I would always see it advertised on TV, and it was something that I always wanted to visit as a kid because it looks so cool in the TV commercials, but unfortunately, I never got a chance to visit. Another amusement park I often saw advertised on TV was Six Flags, which is a big American theme park, amusement park company, and I'm pretty sure they have several different locations.
Mm-hmm.
I also never got to visit Six Flags. My family never visited those theme parks when I was a kid. But Kassy, Six Flags is only in the States, and it's just one of many different amusement parks that's famous in the States. Could you tell us about some of the most famous or the best amusement parks in your country?
Yeah, sure. So Six Flags is really famous, but I have never been to a Six Flags. Hershey Park is super famous on the East Coast, and then Disneyland is really famous in the West Coast in California. Besides Disney and Hershey and Six Flags, we also have Busch Gardens, which is more in the southeastern part of the U.S. And right when I was in 5th grade, I'm going to say, the Great Wolf Lodge started popping up in different places. And that was the first big indoor water park resort.
Whoa.
Yeah. When I was in 5th grade, my school took us on a 2-day field trip to Busch Gardens and some hotel. But unfortunately, on the way there, it started pouring down rain. So they made this decision. One parent was like, "Hey, I heard there's this new really cool resort, Great Wolf Lodge. Shall we give it a try? We'll call them." So we just, went there suddenly. Nobody had ever heard about it. Oh my gosh, Andrew. This place is a kid's dream and a parent's nightmare.
I love that. A kid's dream and a parent's nightmare. Why is it a parent's nightmare? Very dangerous or something?
No. It's just an enclosed water park. Like, just imagine there's steam and like smelly feet smell everywhere. It's very humid. And there's kids just screaming all over the inside area. However, there's a lazy river. There were like lily pads that kids could jump on like frogs across the water pools. There was like a giant jungle gym just draining water on top of you and water slides. And the ultimate thing was this ginormous bucket of water that would fill slowly for like 5 minutes. And then finally, when it got to its tipping point, it would just come crashing down like a giant waterfall and drench the kids underneath.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes.
There are also many theme parks in the States, and maybe we should quickly define the difference between amusement parks and theme parks. Amusement parks, I think the central focus is on amusement, right? It's like roller coasters and rides and fun activities to do. But a theme park is where there is a central theme and there are many activities to do related to that theme. So, for example, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Kassy, you'd know better than I would. There is a Harry Potter theme park somewhere in the States.
Yeah, it's part of Universal Studios in Florida.
Okay, and then Universal Studios as well has many different rides and attractions related to movies, right? Like there's a famous E.T. one, there's a Jaws, there's maybe Back to the Future. I think all of those, maybe I'm dating myself with these references. But I remember like my friends who would visit those places growing up. You know, I had some school friends who would go on summer vacation to Florida, and then they would come back and they'd tell me about their trip to Walt Disney World and Universal Studios. And I was always a little bit jealous. So I heard about these places, but I never visited them myself.
Yeah, I would say these places are all quite expensive. You know, unless you're a big fan, maybe even a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But I can honestly say, if you can afford to go and you have kids, you would make their dreams come true. Some of the kids that I know and adults that I know, their best memories are going to places like Universal Studios and Disney World. Yeah, the lines are long and it's hot, but it really is magical. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a big fan.
Final question for you here, Kassy, before we wrap up. You've talked a lot about going to amusement parks in your home country in the USA, but have you ever been to any amusement parks in South Korea or in Thailand? Or I know you've been to Sweden as well. Maybe you've visited an amusement park in Sweden.
I've only been to an amusement park in Korea, and what can I say? It was fun, but it was not nearly as fun as the parks I've been to in the US.
So we couldn't really compare the two.
No.
Well, everyone, I think we will wrap things up here for today. That's a little shout out to Frederico again. Let's wrap things up here. Everyone, thank you for listening. And Kassy, thank you for sharing about your experiences visiting amusement parks.
No problem. I had such a blast. It makes me really want to go to an amusement park now.
And of course, thank you to all of our listeners for listening and tuning into this episode. And congratulations on getting in some English listening practice today. Great job. And guys, now it's your turn to contribute to the conversation. So we would love it if you let us know your thoughts and opinions about this topic. And you can do that by leaving a comment on our website or by sending us a message through social media like Instagram. We can't wait to hear about what you have to say.
And if you like Culips, please support us so we can keep making free English lessons each and every week.
The best way to support us is by becoming a Culips member. And to learn all the details and to sign up, simply visit our website, culips.com.
You can also support us by following us on Instagram or YouTube, telling your friends who are learning English to check Culips out, or by leaving us a 5-star rating and a positive review on your favorite podcast app.
We'll be back soon with another brand new episode, and we'll talk to you then. Bye.
See ya!